better you get, the less women you have to talk to, obviously, because your skill set is up. But in the beginning, you have to go out there, hit the campaign trail, and talk to as many women as possible, and you'll learn from those experiences. You'll be able to try different things, see what works with your personality, see what doesn't. You have to formulate a game plan for each situation. So basically, it turns into a big chess match. And learning different situations, different circumstances, different women, because there are different types of women that you can talk to, different venues. So it was a long, large learning curve.
You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles. We got a break for commercial. When we come back, we'll be talking to Will H. about the game.
Honest, frank approaches, trusted professional conduct, timely taboo topics, and the most eclectic ensemble of interview guests ever produced. Listen to Frank Talks to learn about the different sides of the human spirit. Be sure to visit our website at www.franktalks.com for the most up-to-date information and the latest downloads of programs just like the one you're listening to now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by From Loser to Seducer by Frank B. Kermit. Ladies, is there a man in your life that got dumped for being clingy, needy, or was told he was a loser, but you still think he's a nice guy and want to help him? He could be a relative or even a friend, and you know he needs the help. Do you want to be the one to give him the gift that will change his life forever? How about the gift of a great biography? Buy him the book, From Loser to Seducer by Frank B. Kermit. It is the story of a nice guy who triumphs over his inner demons to find his own hidden power. Help the nice guy in your life discover his inner seducer to find his soulmate. Buy this book now at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. What would your life be like if you knew exactly what to say and do with women? This book is for the guy that simply wants to learn how to handle women's tests by addressing her emotional needs. By this, you create the type of attraction that will make her see you as the one she was destined to be with. This book will teach you how to get the woman you want and how to keep her. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test is the Rosetta Stone for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks and how to respond. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles. I'm Frank because I have to be. Our website is franktalks.com, and today we're talking with Will. He was featured at both CliffsList Conventions. He was featured on the David D'Angelo interview series, and he's on Frank Talks today. Welcome back, Will.
What's going on, Frank?
All right. In the last segment, you were talking about approaching women. And when you're starting out, yeah, you're getting rejected, but the better you get, the less women you have to approach. Brings me to my next question for you, Will. Is it all a numbers game?
I would say yes and no. And the reason I say that is because one thing people ask me is, well, how come I'm so successful with women? You know, what dictates my success? The first thing I would tell them is, that's because I talk to women that want to talk to me. When you do that, it's amazing how your ratio of success goes through the roof. One thing I've noticed, a lot of guys, they want to talk to all the girls that don't know they exist, don't want to talk to them, and ignore the ones that do want to talk to them. So you can hedge the bet in your favor by talking to girls that want to talk to you, and then you don't have to talk to that many girls.
So if I can summarize this, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
It's a numbers game. If you're going up and talking to any girl in particular, it becomes more of a seduction or more of a calculated game if you start to screen and start to choose the women who would already be open to you.
Exactly. If you're the one selecting, then it's not a numbers game. They've already expressed interest. All you have to do is close.
All right, now here's a question. Somebody's really early in his development. He hasn't yet picked up the social norms where he would be able to identify when a girl is into him.
Okay.
how would he know how to screen? How would he know who to approach?
All right. Best way I can answer that is there's a lot of elements that go into your game. For one, standards. Most guys need to raise their standards, for starters. I mean, because you can be looking for things like eye contact, body language that's congruent to yours, but you also have to raise your standards, and that's a big thing. When I was younger, coming through the game, I noticed that a lot of guys, as the later it gets, the lower the standards get. I mean, you start off at 11 o'clock, you're looking for Angelina Jolie. 12 o'clock, you're looking for Carmen Electra. 1 o'clock, you're looking for Jennifer Lopez. 2 o'clock, you're looking for George Lopez. I mean, so, fellas, you gotta raise your standards.
You know, I really want to debate this part with you. What I'm finding is that a number of guys who are new to the game will come up with such high standards, maybe standards higher than their own level of game, that they're using it as a form of creative avoidance. They want to avoid the pain of approaching. They want to avoid, if they have an issue with sex, they want to try and avoid sex. So they create such ridiculously high standards that they don't end up getting women at all. And what's your comment on that?
That's like the chicken and the egg right there. Which comes first? I mean, yes, you got to have higher standards. You also have to talk to these women. I mean, you just can't create them so high that you don't talk to anybody and just stand on the wall all night or, you know, just look at people. And the beauty of it is the more you talk to attractive women, the more you come to it, and the less it'll bother you. It's kind of like the more you do something, the more comfortable you get with it. It doesn't even...
Hello? Hello? Will, you there? You know what? I think we've lost him. Yeah, well, you know what? Let's go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll hopefully have Will back on the line with us. You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, does your man squash your inner vixen? When you ask him to repeat what you have just said to him, does he look at you like a deer caught in the headlights? Does he think that leaving the game on while you talk to him is a good idea? Is his favorite phrase, "Yes, dear, you are absolutely right"? Does wife or girlfriend mean boring and dull to him? Ladies, don't you wish that he knows what you mean when you ask him if you look fat? Then you need to buy him the book, Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. On sale now at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquest, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar, the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at franktalks.com.